All right, all right, all right. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host with the most, A.D. Walker. So I appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. I appreciate you guys being a part of this movement. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning. Right, let's do this. So I appreciate you guys being with us and hanging with us and rocking with us all week long. Yesterday, we talked about growing up in our households with our mothers, our being raised. And I know I mentioned yesterday's conversation, but we're kind of shifting a whole lot today. um, we are talking about today, we are talking about or discussing Black leadership. And this would probably be what we stick to going throughout the course of this week. And I guess the segue was like, how do we grow up, what we learned, and how it affects who we are now, and then talking about Black leadership in this dispensation, this time, this era. What's different about our Black leadership? And it's just gonna be me today, and kind of setting the foundation. Rest of the week, my peeps will be here, but today I just kind of want to dig into a set of foundation for the conversation going forward, right? And I'm gonna hit you with a little twist on it, like I always kind of aim to do when it comes to these kind of conversations that are always talked about over and over and over. Um, and so my wife a clip of Jamal Bryant in an interview, um, talking about where you know having our Black leaders are the next generation, like where are they at? Are they being groomed? Are they being prepped? Are they prepared to take the mantle? um and what's the next generation look like? And honestly, like, just like some, like our generation back in the 90s, there's always the question mark of how prepared were we, to come into this space, this next generation, into this generation. And and so some of my concern and issue is the fact that a lot of times, for lack of a better word, some of the old heads who I'm headed toward that space, old heads aren't not just preparing the next generation, but they're not providing the platform for them to speak. Um, so today I just kind of want to talk about that, talk about where our leadership like can come from. Also, the a strategy I just learned today, a strategy that can fundamentally shift how we kind of attack this Black leadership conundrum. What's up, Keita? Good morning. Thank you for rocking with us. I must say shopping for rocking with us. So we're in this Black leadership conundrum. Maybe I should put a Black leadership conundrum, because some people are waiting for the next Messiah, you know, the national stage to step up and do something amazing. But I got a twist on it, right? Because there are those that are looking for the next Martin or Malcolm, and then there are others that they're saying the leadership is in you, which, yeah, no, because it sets us on that same course that kind of me and my wife spoke about yesterday on Purpose for Forever. It's a kind of selfishness, which is why we have 52,000 agendas instead of a few collective agendas with one goal in mind, right? And having understanding of what we're bringing to the table, what's our goal, what's our focus to change our communities. And of course, there's so many avenues to attack a problem, but if you get more direct into the change that you're trying to see, then change can happen. All right, so we're going to kind of dig into that, the level of leadership, how to position leadership, and some of the ideas I want to present to you guys about ways that Black leadership is different, and how we need to attack it in a different space. All right, so we're gonna dig into this. Just a programming note: was today Tuesday? We got not purposed. We got Solomon's Temple Christian Ministries Bible study coming up, as well as Sisters of Legacy coming through as well. So make sure you are connecting to us. Join our community. Text LWN to 84576. Text stay connected to our community. Text LWN Legacy Walker Network to 84576. All right. And also, this will probably be the last time you hear this song in the intro, because I got flagged by YouTube. So I got to switch it up. All right. We'll be right back. Make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. Make sure you tag somebody. Let everybody know that the brothers or the brother of Legacy is in the building. All right. So let's get into it. My podcast people, I appreciate you. You can share as well. Copy, paste, text. You know how we do. Put it on your own social media. I want to welcome you to the Brothers of Legacy broadcast, where we are changing our community one conversation at a time, every day.
We are creating a new legacy. A co-op has to start with ownership.
Right.
We have a mindset of either I want to make a lot of money or survival. Make a bunch of money or I got to figure out how to survive.
When you have a real bond, when everyone has, we come in with real expectations. Mm-hmm. It's because this is covenant.
The whole point is this: that we as a people, with our money and time, aren't often. I'm making this general as possible. Often vested in the hood.
All right, welcome back. Let's go. Bam, bam. All right, what's up, Richard? Leader Inspirational. Appreciate that, Richard. I said good morning, Takita. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Cheryl. Appreciate you for being here. Thank you for rocking with us and hanging with us all week long. So today we're talking about what's different about Black leadership. And I know why has it got to be Black leadership? So I'm being very specific because that's a conversation that we have in our community a lot about who has our best interest at heart, who is willing to, hey, Mama McCory, who is willing to take the stand, be uncomfortable, and in some respects become the target. Oh, thank you, Rich. Appreciate it. He said, great broadcast last night. Yes, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you check out Purposeful Forever. We talked about being selfish in your relationships. So yeah, we're talking about, like I said today, and having, we've looked for a Moses for probably so long. We've had our national leaders from Martin Luther King to Malcolm X, at some point, even Al Sharpton and the Jesse Jacksons, and they have been the rally call for justice in particular spaces, leading the change movement, for a good time. I'll say at least 80s and 90s, because that's my space. The Jessies and the Als have been the ones to bring attention to situations that happen, right? When injustice happens, you call them to get the cameras, to get eyes on it. I mean, nowadays, you don't need them like we did back then, because we have social media. I show something that happens, everybody shares it, it goes viral, and there's no one can say, I didn't know about that. So as far as leadership goes, some are still waiting for that national messiah, the one that could be the spokesperson for all of us. and some of us have given up on that. We're like, well, I'm not really looking for that. I just want change to happen. The issue is, of course, the things that I want changed has to be led by someone, some person, some organization, some what's that? What's the some lobbying group? It has to be led by something. And granted, I can get out there and push the agenda, but if each one of us pushes an agenda that's countering the other agenda, those that are in power, how do they choose which agenda will be most effective for the community? Because we have our wants, we have our needs, what works, not just short term, but long term. And so today I'm digging into the Black leadership conversation because we've got to change how we think about this, right? And what I mean is you need leaders. Like if you go to church, there's a pastor. And the pastor, if you're in an organization, there's a superintendent, then there's a bishop, then there's a national bishop. There's a leadership that leads an agenda in order for things to get done, right? So we have to have kind of like a hierarchy. We have to have someone to pave the way for us to get to a particular goal, right? So today I want to kind of set a foundation of how that paving of the way can happen in different scenarios. Like I don't know all the answers. I just know that we are in a space where if I can present some of these different ways, give you something to chew on, something to think about, and then as a collective group, we come together, we're like, you know what? That's a way of attacking it. Richard says, Biola, thank you for the great topics, awareness and insights to education during the pandemic from the UK, and to Pastor Brian, who's learning insights have helped me. Appreciate you, Richard. I thank you for that. So from the state of leadership and Black leadership, we can see, it's funny because I was watching a gentleman. His name is Professor James Tailor, or Dr. James Tailor, Black guy, just in case you look him up. He was talking about, how, and people have said it, not just him, but, the Malcolm X's and Martin Luther Kings weren't favorites. People didn't like these guys. a large group, America didn't like them. Of course, they became great when they died because they could no longer push a movement or speak. So we just kind of celebrate what they've said, and now, hey, yeah, we love what you said. That's kind of like I love Malcolm, love Martin, but they're gone. And and some of the problems he spoke about was like with the Black Panther Party. They had a great movement in Los Angeles. The problem was they took, he said, I like to stretch my comfort zones to uncomfortable to start growing and grow. Right. Got to get uncomfortable, man. Got to get uncomfortable. That's a whole nother conversation. Los Angeles. And he was making a move. And, Black Panther was trying to grow nationally. But what he was saying was, unfortunately, the way they were going about things worked in Los Angeles, but it didn't work in like Connecticut, So he was saying one of the biggest things that we have to focus on is local leadership, right? And that's where we kind of miss it, because granted, you have a grandiose idea, especially as a leader, you get a few people to listen, you want more people to listen, and you're trying to raise your status from local to national. And some of your tactics and movements work locally because one, the local politics, how it functions, and you can make change in that space. But when you go to New York, no one knows you. You don't know the local politics. You don't even know the local Black agenda. You don't even know what they're going after, because what people are seeking in Atlanta may not be the same thing people are seeking in New York. You see how the conflict starts. hopefully you guys can see me decent and clear because I'm getting an alert that my signal is weak. Yeah. Right. It said local leaders with vision work in unity to grow a national movement. So that's the problem. Like, you can't take, well, I won't say you can't. That's not true. It's challenging to take some agendas that I create here in Georgia or even in Henry County, to a place where they may not have those same struggles. Like, for instance, some there's areas that say, man, it's not enough black businesses, struggling to buy black locally. You know, is it the local charters or the local officials that are just not allowing black businesses in? They're doing certain things, kind of redlining and things of that nature, even with black businesses, right? If they take that agenda and bring it to Atlanta, it's like, we don't have that problem. Like I tell people, I was like, I have no problem buying black because black is at furthest 20 minutes away. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Deborah. Buying black here is not a challenge. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the local fights, like that's not a fight here. We don't have that struggle. So it's bringing certain agendas to the national stage is harder to convince because everyone's not struggling in that area. Does that make sense? Let me know if at least what I'm saying resonating, because this is some of the challenges with black leadership, because some fights here don't apply everywhere. You understand? Like even some of the police issues, they don't apply to every police force. I know it's hard to fathom, but every police force isn't struggling the same way. There are certain agendas that work in certain areas. Like they're not struggling. They got a police force that's working with the neighborhood, and you feel like you don't see it a lot, but it's there. It doesn't apply for every situation or every area. That's the reason that a lot of people don't get behind the whole defunding or the refunding, or however you want to redistribute monies and funds in that situation. I know what we see, but if you look, some of them have been consistent actions in particular areas. So locally, these things need to be attacked. These things need to shift. And that's the problem sometimes with national laws, because, oh man, we was fine until you threw the national law, and I get it. Other areas needed, we didn't. And now it's changed our dynamic. It's changed our economy. So we got to understand how we're fighting this thing, because it starts on a local level. Honestly, especially, policing is local. It's not national. Policing is local. Yes, they can set an agenda. They can set certain federal laws. But as far as setting an agenda that's national, that doesn't apply locally, counteracts and can cause more problems than good, right? So the first step in black leadership to me is establishing local black leadership and respecting those areas, right? And understanding what are the needs in these local economies? What are the needs in these local areas that need to change? Everything's not a national issue. You understand what I'm saying? Let me know if you hear me, if it makes sense, if you're like, you agree, don't agree, feel like, I feel you, but, give me some opinions. It's quiet in these comments. My man Richard is coming up on it. Similarities and some issues in common make the jump. So all you do things that betterment of all. Yes, also some localized issues and action plans. But Washington needs to be on both sides. Makes sense. Yeah, start locally and taking these local issues to task, and then applying those local issues in areas of locale that need it. But then that comes with black leaders in these local areas stepping up and sounding the alarm and being willing to merge agendas and not get so caught up in having to be the head that they can't work with another black leader in another area. Even forming an organization, it takes Yeah, let's see. Boom. Context is important. We have to tailor any action to the community and their history and priority. Yes, indeed. Good morning, V. It's been a minute. I haven't seen you in a minute. Good morning. Yeah, so context is definitely important. Like I said, every law, every issue I don't think can be applied to every neighborhood. There's certain things overarching that you want to change, that you want to set a foundation, maybe strengthen the law. Like talk about gun laws, like just strengthen the laws. But every legal change doesn't need to be in every locale, because it may not, like I said, doesn't apply. Like the black businesses, we don't really struggle with that. We just need to protect it. I've been watching some videos on that. Some folks is trying to change something. We just need to watch, protect it, make sure the laws don't change against us, and begin a local business redlining. Let's see what else. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Oh, another level of leadership I wanted to kind of discuss as well. We have those that are in power, what I like to call the gatekeepers. And I think that's a space that the leaders need to understand us. And what I'm talking about, from loan officers to political pundits that make the laws in the local areas, to those that are approving certain codes and approving changing some areas. Yeah, Sam said, right, we have to be vigilant and watchful of the laws and changes. That is key. We've got to be vigilant, because a lot of times this is what happens. We have our wins and then we fall asleep at the wheel, and a lot, and there's a time, like, Obama got elected. A lot of times we fall asleep at the wheel. We're like, oh, we good. We've overcome. But we need to stay vigilant. We need to know what's going on. When voting comes, we need to see what's on the ballot. What changes are trying to be made? What's happening in my local? What zoning laws are happening? Because it's the small things. It's the small things that change in your area that can have greater results nationally. Like they talk about redlining, redistricting. I think the Republicans have just done some redistricting here in Georgia. So we need to be watching for that. Right. He said we can't just tune in when it's time to vote. Right. He said, I'm guilty of that sometimes. Right. We got to know what's going on. Regeneration funding, local administrator that takes local nuances and makeup for communities into consideration. Yeah. So who are the power brokers? Who are the gatekeepers? Do they have our interests at heart? Are they considering our neighborhoods? We go through, and we spoke about this weeks ago, about, certain neighborhoods, and their infrastructure is like trash, like trash. Like, I don't even like riding on the streets. I do Lyft, and some of these streets are like jacked up, and you can tell what neighborhood you're in based on the streets. Let's keep it real. Like, you ever go from a rough neighborhood, literally driving, and then you're coming into a better neighborhood because the streets change. It's like then it's like, what's up with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it that certain areas get the attention while others don't get the basic attention? Like potholes that are huge, like car wrecking potholes. Like you avoided hitting a car if you weren't paying attention to the road. I've hit some of those, and it's amazing how, these are some of the local fights that we have to have. The redistribution of money or wealth into these communities, that these folks pay taxes as well, but I guess because their tax base isn't high, their representation isn't strong, that they don't get the money needed to help with the infrastructure. Just the infrastructure, because you can tell, it's just neglected, negated, and people just kind of just have to deal with it. You're with this is a deal with the community, and some of those things need to change. But like I said, they may not affect every neighborhood in America, or every Black neighborhood, or every area that needs something. They may not need the streets. They just need some cleaning up of the buildings. He said, yes, need to be taken into account an idea, world idealism. Your communities get what you need. And the other people communities also, therefore, everyone feels valued. Indeed. So we have to, so our leaders have to come locally. Like if anything, that's the main thing I want you guys to get out of it today. You know, our leadership has to be local. There has to be local checkpoints with leadership and not infighting. There's got to be, oh man, it's got to be the way to work together, because we've watched enough of the movies that you see that it's not just an outside white force. It's sometimes our own internal bickering that keeps us from becoming better, moving forward. And like I said, it starts locally. It starts locally. We could have a national voice, or maybe we just need some national voices that are speaking into the local communities in order to navigate how to better fund, because that's what it all honestly comes down to. Funding, changing attitudes as well, changing the mindsets of our communities in order to take care of them, to make sure they stay completely built. You know, like a lot of things get torn down quicker because we don't take care of it. So it's a two-edged sword. You know, it's Black leadership to speak out, this is what we need, and then speak internally, like this is your responsibility to do. You know, so it's a back and forth. It's like, we need this because this is what we can give back. People, we need you guys to make sure you're holding up your end of the bargain. He said, correct. Leadership should be asking for road improvements in poorer areas. Indeed. Especially those that are lack of funding. And listen, the main thing is like watching, because it's happened a lot in Georgia. Like I've seen it. I've not seen it in New York because they're fighters. And not saying Georgia's not fighting, but I think they slide, the way things work, they can slide things in quicker. But these, I guess, redistricting or towns breaking off. So, and it's happening a lot. Like we have the Walker town, right? And over here in this section is where a lot of the wealth is accumulated. So now for lack of a better word, the Johnsons said, listen, we want to break off into the Johnson district, effectively taking away the tax base out of the Walker town that spreads and help everybody. You want to take the bulk of where the money's at and create your own town. We need to be watching for that stuff. This is happening in a lot of places, like a lot of places. So it's like the okie doke. They try to do it here in Henry County, the town that I live in. They tried to break it off and create a new town. The folks wasn't having it because we know it was a money grab. It was clear, because I've read article after article to see if there was any real reasoning for doing this other than a money grab. And so it's like another way to take away from areas that don't produce a high income or high tax base. And understand, this is not a white or Black thing. This is an economic thing, because a lot of times the poor, it's like, why is like poor, impoverished, Black? It's like, why is Black always thrown into the poor, impoverished category? It's just, this is just a lower income area, because truth be told, there are a significant amount of whites in this area as well. It's crazy to separate that, but that's another conversation. But yeah, so I need you guys to be vigilant on that as well, watching that a tax base that holds more of the wealth, because it's happening in Atlanta, taking the tax base that generates a lot of income, a lot of wealth out of the Atlanta area, and now they're losing. Right, Detroit was absolutely ruined when Detroit allowed Ford to move out of the city of Detroit to the outskirts. It's interesting. I didn't realize that. I mean, I know they went through, but I didn't realize where they moved to. But I know Detroit has been kind of struggling and suffering for quite some time. But yeah, so we have to be mindful of what's going on locally. And like I said, if we got our Black leaders, that are knowing what's happening, staying in the know. I don't know, like and let me know if it's good. I know Pastor said, like when Reverend Raphael Warnock was going, he was like, he was kind of not feeling the fact that he was a pastor over a church and then running politically. Um, right, right. He said, right, didn't the whole city file for bankruptcy? How does that even happen? Right. How does a whole city file for bankruptcy? And people ride through and you see like boarded up houses, boarded up businesses. It's like the town is dead. So yeah, it's moments like that. It was, it didn't just happen overnight. It was a movement. It was slow pulling, the Ford leaving, because Ford was a big employer of Detroit. Like, this is the motor city, this is the city. Um and it's just slowly pulled away, slowly money left, businesses left, because once big jobs leave, certain local businesses aren't making what they were, so they leave or they close up. But yeah, my thought, pulling away, local leadership. Oh, boom, getting into politics. Should Black leaders get into politics and continue to lead, or should they just be a voice to speak for us, to the politicians? Because we know, politics is a game of long term. I need to get elected, as well as try to do for the people, and there's different certain constituents because of money, and see, that's an issue as well. That's a national issue. Money in politics. Someone said politicians spend 2 days out of their week fundraising. 2 days out of their week fundraising. Now, politicians generally work 5 days. 2 days they spend fundraising. So 3 days out of the week, they're supposed to make changes, make laws, and do all the work for the people. But they spend 2 days out of the week fundraising. Look that up. So money in politics is like a huge issue. So that's national. That's national. But locally, should our leaders get into politics, or be, for lack of a better word, our union leader when it comes to speaking up for what we need, and disseminating information, and even if it's just leadership, those that are working together to make change in the community, should they get into politics? Because it sounds good, right? It's like, yeah, they got our best interests, they got our backs. Should they get into politics? And then it changes, because now I got to play the game correctly. 2 days is on. Let's see. I said, good morning, family. 2 days is on the record. It's more than that. Politicians do more fundraising than the church. Right. Right. That's one of the videos I was watching. Maybe it's a culmination, like they spend maybe 48 hours of most of their time is raising, if you equivalent into days, that'd probably be, but yeah, they do. They spend all this time raising money. Like, that's crazy. Instead of doing the work. Like, like they're trying to, and I get, in a business, you're generating sales, but someone's got to be working on a product. But unfortunately, you're a politician. You need to be working on change and not making change. So yeah, but like I said, should Black leaders get into the space of politics? Like I said, it sounded good when Jesse was running. We're like, yes, we can. I am somebody. Would it have been helpful? Would it have mattered? Would it have helped? You feel like it. You got the people in power. They're making the change, making the difference. They're doing the thing, in one space, and they can get into office and make so many changes. Yes, junior officials do the real guts of the work. Yes, indeed, Richard, you're right. But yeah, like, is that a possibility? Does that work? And honestly, throw me some names. Like, yeah, they was an activist and they went into politics and they made huge changes in the way we did government, in laws and things of that nature, because it sounds great, but then we lose our advocate. Does that make sense? Or if they maybe pass the torch, I mean, how much is that person gonna fight against the person who kind of put them in position? You know what I'm saying? Like, you see how this works? So he said, Jesse was powerful. The media sabotaged him. I wanted him to win. My people, do you think Jesse was sabotaged? Jesse Jackson, now, do you think he was sabotaged? That's a whole topic right there. But yeah, like, so does that help? Should our people of leadership get into politics? Or should the people in the camp with leadership get into politics? If that makes sense. Like, let's just throw Solomon's Temple out there. Boom. Pastor leading the gate in our local community doing this thing. And he taps the shoulder of someone within Solomon's Temple to run for an office. Maybe change can happen. Said Jesse lack of discipline sabotaged him. Right. He lit the match and he fanned the fire. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, that discipline, man, you gotta have it. Discipline, self-control, you gotta have it. It is the downfall of much of leadership. Lack of discipline, lack of self-control. The downfall of much leadership. We're not perfect, but man, we gotta have a high level of discipline. A discipline. To whom much is given, much is required. So we gotta have that discipline. But yeah, so let me know how you feel about that. Should the leader be in politics, or maybe the leader in the camp be in politics? Dr. Claude Anderson said, he said we should never have someone that we put into politics. We should just negotiate with whoever gets into office, if that makes sense. He said having a like a unionized party where we set an agenda. If that person agrees to the agenda, we put them in office and we hold them accountable. And I've always thought about that. That's a great concept. That's a great thought, because it's easier to hold someone accountable. If they're not doing the job, we move to the next, as opposed to feeling like we have to have a loyalty because they've been in the camp, because they've been the leader, because there's going to be folks advocating and fighting for them. And of course, like how politics works, especially let's just say something as high as senator or House or representative, they create jobs, because they need assistance. And I guess depending if it's national, I'm sure they got more money. If it's local, they still need assistant secretary, So those that are in these positions in an organization, they just transfer them into the office or political party or political space, which again can muddy some things. So let me asking, let's see. Boom. So yeah, but how do you hold them accountable once they're in office, right? You can't just get them out when they don't deliver. There's a process, a length of time between. Yeah, but I'm saying, so at least I get exactly what you're saying, but at least it gives you an opportunity to, like, when it's time, because 2 years, 4 years happens just like that, because they got to get on the campaign trail, right? And then we're on the campaign trail. We supported John. John let us down. So now we're going with Kathy. We're going with Kathy. And here, Kathy, we're arming you with all of what John ain't do, because I need you to look out for us. This is what we do. We take you down if you're not helping the community. And it's not like strong arming. It's not like hard stuff. It's basic things that we're asking for. And of course the checks and balances of making sure those that are presenting are not asking for personal favors. that, that always comes into play. But just to, we check them, like we 6 months checks how we doing, or voting things. Yeah, we have we don't stay. He said we have short-term memory loss. We don't stay mad for 4 or even 2 years. I know, but it's in your face. It's in your face. Like if if we were, if let's just say, if we had the local churches, we are coming together with this issue. Black community is that we keep fighting each other. Listen, the number one thing is there's never going to be 100% participation. No one's ever going to agree on everything. So, like, that's the one thing my people watching this that are coming on replay know, that it's never going to be 100% participation. We can't all agree on anything. I realize no matter how much you give something away free, someone will always complain. It's it's inevitable. So we're never, it's never going to be 100%. And I don't believe that all of us fight each other. We have conversations. Like, me and my wife have built a great community that's growing, of Black couples, of just couples. And we're creating a base to build something on. And in the midst of it, we're not going to agree on everything. But long as we have an understanding of where we're going, that's the key. That's the problem. Like, if you have an understanding of where you're going, then you have an understanding of what it's going to take to get there, right? And we may not all agree on the process of getting there, but long as we're still moving forward, that's the key. We're still having a meeting. We don't agree on the process, but this person's over it, so we're just going to trust, like, it better not fail. You understand what I'm saying? We have to trust the process and do the work. It's not easy. Like, everyone thinks we're not going to be all on the same page. It's not about to happen. We're human. We all have our personal agendas. We all have our community agendas, but love is free. Kindness is free. Yeah. I mean, we just got to realize that we're not going to agree. Like, if anybody comes into a meeting like, yeah, we're all going to agree, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Let it go. Y'all need to let that dream go, that we all gonna rock this thing. Like, honestly, like, even the basic, right? Like, let's just say some dream level of even some dream level, how can I explain? Like, if reparations came in the size of a check, erase that cannot be civilized due to Black stereotypes. But I'm gonna address that. So even if a check came in reparations of $50,000, right? There's gonna be someone that complains. That's not enough. There's gonna be someone that's gonna take issue. I mean, each individual over the age of 18, and I'm not saying that's great, that's enough, because some people look at it, no. But I'm just saying, like, if there would never be enough. It could be $1 million. It still wouldn't be enough. We don't, right. That's the main thing. We don't need to agree. Sam just said, we don't need to agree. We just need to respect each other and agree to work together, or at the very least, not work against each other or tear each other down. That last part is the number one issue. Don't tear the other person down. It's okay to not agree. Because people, if we talked about Thanksgiving, some folks are coming on talking about making erroneous complaints about folks giving away turkeys. Like, yo, don't come on tearing people down. You're a fool. Stop tearing folk down. Show another way. Like, this is the way I serve. This is the way I get. Because they ain't giving. They just tearing other people down. Stop tearing each other down. Okay, so I realize that ethnicities watch us as a race that cannot be civilized due to Black stereotypes, which have been portrayed on TV for decades. Right, because it's wrong. I mean, we can't, there's nothing we can do but show Black greatness as much as we can. That's it. There's nothing we can do about that other than controlling our media and putting out great things, posting better things, posting dads, Black fathers being Black fathers, because we are more present than any other race. People, man, still don't know that. It's been 10 years since that study came out. People still keep putting up black fathers ain't there. Yes, they are. Sorry. I know Dr. Ron was behind me like, yeah. But, like, so all we can do is do what we do. Because we can't crush stereotypes. We just can put out greater images and try to hope and pray that it overcomes the nonsense that's been out there. Right. And we have to stop perpetuating stereotypes as well. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Who does the stereotyping else? Or does your own community say, okay, who does the stereotyping to everyone else? Or does your community? Well, when I'll say Richard, I can't say if it's more prevalent now. I'll just speak to the 90s, right? In the 90s, every time we get arrested, you got name, you got a face, and it's always us going to the, getting handcuffs and everything. But when it was ever somebody else of different ethnicity, you didn't get name, you didn't get race, you didn't get white man, you got black man, but you never got white man. In sports, and like I said, I don't know if they still do it. They may, but we always got if it was a white quarterback, look at how he's strategic in his mindset, and he's smart, and boom, 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 and look at him run with thought and all that, and greatness, and so intelligent. With us is like, look at him aim. He is quick like an animal, fast like a cheetah. Like we always got animal references. It was just things like that. Honestly, and that was how it was perpetuated for so long, and some folks still do, but it was huge, and like it's more or less figuring it out later on. Like, oh man, I never realized, when the same thing, even when, what's the name? Help me out with England, the black woman that married a prince. I don't know, I can't think of names right now. And then his brother married I think her name was Kate something, married her prince, typical looking. Even the news stories from the same magazines were saying something different. I saw it's funny because I was watching the Daily Show with Trevor Noah, Meghan Markle. Yes, respect. When she, they show same pictures, like Meghan Markle comes up, she was eating. Oh my gosh, what she's feeding that baby. Same picture with Kate. Oh my gosh, she is so great. She's taking care of herself. Same picture, doing the same stuff. It was like two different worlds doing the same things. So that's still prevalent. It's like what? Wait a minute. How do you, yeah. So it's still there. And these are things, these are stereotypes, the way people see us, the way the media sees us a lot. It's changed. There has been a set of change, and people are more aware. But we still have a ways to go with that. All right, let me go back at some of these comments. Yes, perpetuating. That Ron gave me claps. Yes, for the fathers being there. Yes, indeed. But that goes back to our law enforcement practice. Who releases the info from the crimes and what's their motive? Yes, indeed. And the crazy part is, have you ever watched Cops? If you ever watched Cops, remember, bad boy, what you gonna do? You realize it's honestly, we weren't on that show a whole lot. we were not, like I started, I was like, you know what? We're really not on it that much. We probably every couple of episodes, like, they have several distant chasing scenes and yeah. So so I guess don't get it because I was school with numerous ethnicities, so I just see the people. Yeah, but the thing is, let me tell you, to me, my opinion, this is what I think. Folks that are not exposed to other ethnic groups, and I'm going back to the 90s because that was like the biggest time with a lot of race stuff like that, where we was seeing the most freest, but still dealing with it. Those that have not grown up around other people only get to see what's on TV. And think about it. If all of the images, or 90% of the images, us getting locked up, being described as animals in sports, and oh man, he's good. But He's still that dude that just didn't get locked up, you know. And then you see the Cosby Show. You have the idea or perception of, oh, those are the good ones. Those are the good ones. So the others get alienated. If you're good, oh, you're not like them. I've gotten that. Oh, you're different. Different. Like different like what? You know. Oh, yeah, you know, like I've had pullovers and stops, and you know, my encounters are different because I don't look like them, you know, and it's the truth, you know. So it's a lot of stuff that, you know, just needs to be shattered. You know, people need to open their eyes and realize all of us are great. We have some bad ones. The bad ones be like, oh, you're not like the rest of them. So, and it's fear. It is a fear, but we all have brain, we have intelligence, critical thinking. Yeah. But now I think, yeah, people, I'm telling you, if it's all you see, like if you grew up in a household, all you see on TV was us in the bad light. And then if you grow up with parents that don't talk great about us, talk about the African booty scratchers, you know, the thoughts of Africa. You know, many of us seen Africa as some crazy jungle place, but realize, oh, you cities, you regular, you know, you have regular neighborhoods like us. But that's all they used to show. All we seen was the jungle part of it. You know, like the Sahara, you know, like it's, and yeah, and if that's all you seen, that's all you heard, you have this stuff in your mind. And it takes you really to have a sit down and like, you know, come to Atlanta and you realize, oh, this is black people, you know. Yes, this is black people. And so a lot of it's been perpetuated by media, and then, you know, the socialness of what people just thought and wasn't letting go, you know, and God forbid an incident happen with one of our bad ones. then it's solidified that that's how they are. Yeah, see, so he said didn't get that in my house. I guess not the normal. Yeah, you know, if you grow up, you know, so yeah, so leadership, local. So we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. Should leadership come from within, or should leaders become politicians, or should there be a separation of leaders and church, you know, on that church, leaders and politics, you know, should there be a middleman? We want to talk about how that's going to shape up. Should there be a national leader, or should it all stay local? We're going to dig into all of those conversations tomorrow. If you know, we're going to have our folks on. Pastor should be in the building. I think Kadeem should be here, and we're going to really dig into this conversation. I appreciate you guys being here, sharing in the conversation. One man, one mic on the brothers. So I appreciate you guys being here. My podcast people, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of these conversations. You know, check us out live. We're here 9 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. I'm not giving nobody else no play. YouTube, come check us out. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Mama McCory. Thank you for everything. So, as always, know that we love you. God loves you more. Continue to stay safe. Wear the mask. I know. I hate them, but it's all good. Fortunately, I'm starting to get used to them. Feel naked without them sometimes. But continue to just be mindful. Keep your 6 feet. You know, it's still out here. I know the new variant. Blah, say, blah, say, blah. Just continue. If you continue to kind of keep your distance, stay safe, and just always do the right thing. Things will be good. We're getting better. Brothers Legacy is when we're about changing our community one conversation at a time. We're men that don't stand out. We're about standing up. And I just want you guys to just continue to support us, continue to share this broadcast. I promise you, we got some local stuff that we're going to drop out, and that these conversations are what's going to shape our nation. All right. So be blessed. Keep pushing. Keep growing. All right. See you in the AM.
I want to thank you for watching, learning, and growing with us, being a part of the change that is happening every single day.
It's been a long, long time coming, but I know
We are creating a new legacy.